Hey guys, so in this video we are going to go over what we talked about in our lesson today, which was two-dimensional shapes. So first we're going to go over some different vocabulary. So we're first going to talk about what congruent means. Now what congruent means in shapes is when two shapes have, or more, have the same shape or size. So these two lines are congruent, they're the same length. As close as I can get, these two are congruent shapes. Okay, so when something is congruent, same shape or size. So the next thing that I have is talking about parallel and perpendicular lines. So when we have parallel lines, two lines that will never meet. No matter how far you extend them. These lines are parallel. No matter how far you extend these lines, they're never going to meet, so they're parallel. Now these two lines are not parallel because if we were to extend this line, they would cross. Okay, they would meet, so they are not parallel. So this was what parallel lines are. Then we have perpendicular lines. These are two lines that when they meet, and when they do intersect or meet, they make a right angle. So they don't just intersect, they make a right angle. So they make a right angle. So that is what perpendicular lines are. Then we have our angles. So we have a right angle, an obtuse angle, and an acute angle. So a right angle is a 90-degree angle. An obtuse angle is an angle that is greater than 90, but less than 180. Because 180 degrees is a straight line, so it has to be less than that. And then an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. Okay, so these are the different types of angles that we may end up seeing in our different two-dimensional shapes. Right, obtuse, and acute. Okay, so now we're going to get into talking about different two-dimensional shapes. So what we're going to do is we are going to first talk about polygons. So poly means multi, so multiple, right? So a polygon is going to be a multi-sided shape. So it's going to have more than two sides, so 3 or more. It is going to be a closed shape, and it's only going to use straight lines. So a circle, not a polygon. This is not a polygon because it's an open shape. And that is not a polygon because it has curved lines. Okay, so polygon may look something like this. Multi-sided, it's closed and has straight lines. So there's our polygon. Okay, so we're going to have a couple different polygons that we talk about today. First one is a three-sided shape, which is called a triangle. So we have a triangle, which is 3 sides and 3 angles. Then we have something that is 4-sided. So 4-sided is a quadrilateral. Four sides and 4 angles. Then we've got, you know, our shapes that have more than 4 sides, so our 5 plus sides. So that would be our pentagon, hexagon, octagon, etc. Okay? But what we're going to really focus on today is going to be our quadrilateral. So I'm going to erase some of these. And let's talk about quadrilaterals. So I'll keep this here. Quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are 4-sided, and there are a bunch of different shapes that fall under quadrilaterals. So a 4-sided figure, or 4-sided shape. Our next one is a trapezoid. So underneath quadrilaterals, we have trapezoids. Trapezoids have at least 1 pair of parallel sides. So a trapezoid will look something like this. So here's that 1 pair of parallel sides. So a trapezoid is also considered a quadrilateral because it's 4-sided. And it is also considered a polygon because a polygon is more than 2 sides. So a trapezoid, while trapezoid is the best way to describe this figure is also a quadrilateral and a polygon. Next, we've got a parallelogram. Parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides. So a parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides, like so. A parallelogram is also considered a trapezoid because it still has at least 1 pair of parallel sides. It's also a quadrilateral because it's 4-sided, and it's also a polygon. So when we're looking at this diagram, when we see our shape, it's also considered everything that's above it. Then we kind of branch off into 2 different ways. The first way is we've got a rectangle. So a rectangle has 4 right angles, and the opposite sides are the same length. Whereas with the next one is a rhombus. Which has all sides the same length, but does not have the right angles that a rectangle has. So a rectangle is also a parallelogram and a trapezoid, a quadrilateral, and a polygon. A rhombus is also a parallelogram, a trapezoid, a quadrilateral, and a polygon. Okay? So then finally we have what then takes what both a rhombus and a rectangle have and puts it into one. So we have a square. And a square has 4 right angles and all sides the same length. So with a square, our square is also a rectangle, a rhombus, a parallelogram, a trapezoid, a quadrilateral, and a polygon because it shares all of these traits that are above it. So this is our quadrilateral diagram. So what I've done is I've now taken our diagram, I've taken out some of the details and I put it to the left. So let's answer some questions. We're going to have 2 questions and we can either answer with all, some, or none. So blank rhombuses are trapezoids. So let's fill in. Well, let's go to a rhombus. I did say that anything, if we're looking at a shape, it is considered everything above it. So a rhombus is a parallelogram, and it's also a trapezoid. So it will always be a trapezoid. So all rhombuses are going to be trapezoids. Let's do another one. Blank parallelograms are rectangles. All, some, or none. So let's look. We have a parallelogram, but a parallelogram can either be a rectangle, a rhombus, or a square. So it's not always going to be a rectangle. It sometimes can be a rectangle. So some parallelograms are rectangles. Okay, so let's do another one. What if you are given this statement and it says that it is a fact? Well, so here's the fact. In any parallelogram, opposite lengths are the same length. So I'll say opposite sides are the same length. So that's the fact. Now I'm going to give you a statement, and I want you to tell me if it's true or false. So here's our statement. In all rhombuses, the opposite lengths are the same length. In any rhombus, opposite sides are the same length. So is that true or false? Well, let's look at the rhombus. One thing we know about the rhombus is that all sides are the same length, but we also know that because in parallelograms the opposite sides are the same length, it then even goes here because the rhombus shares what parallelogram has. So if the parallelograms have the opposite sides are the same length, then so does a rhombus, so that's true. Okay. Now you may be given something where you're asked to kind of sort some different shapes and tell whether or not something is a trapezoid or not. So remember, trapezoid is four-sided and it has at least one pair of parallel sides. So is this a trapezoid? Well, here's one pair of parallel sides and it's four-sided. So yep. Okay, I see a lot of parallel sides, but if I count the sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that can't be a trapezoid because it has 6 sides. What about a rectangle? Is a rectangle considered a trapezoid? Yep, because it has at least one pair of parallel sides and it's four-sided, so it is. Now, you may be given more like a riddle where you have to figure out what the shape is. So I am a parallelogram. All my sides are the same. I am not a rhombus. What am I? So we would go to parallelogram. All my sides are the same. Well, a rhombus has all the same sides, and so does a square. But it's not a rhombus. So our answer would then be square. Okay, so you'll see some of these riddles on your lesson, but other than that, really focus on that wherever you go in the diagram, like parallelogram, it shares the qualities of everything above it. Square shares the qualities of everything above it. Okay? If you guys have any questions, please message me on whether that's Class Dojo, Google Classroom, email me, and I'll try and answer as quick as I can and help you figure it out. But good luck on your lessons today or this week. Thanks. Bye.